Hola, Matías. Buenos dias. Welcome back to Nueva York. It's good to see you.
Hi, Cody. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Who are you, and where do you make wine?
Well, I'm Matías Riccitelli. I was born in northern Argentina, in Cafayate, a very small town where everybody makes wine and love wine. So my father was working there in the 80s. I born. So all my life, see my father working in the wine industry, and then and when I was very young, I started to make wine with him at the beginning, and then in Mendoza, because all my family moved in the late 90s to Mendoza. So I started with him, and then I worked with other wineries.
And when did your project start?
So I started very young in Mendoza with a winery that we call, the name is Fabre Montmajou. And then every year I did 2 harvests, for 10 years. So in 2009, quite young, I started my own business.
Wow.
After when I came from a very long trip around the world, and then I came to Mendoza and decided to start my own project in 2009 with 2 wines, making Malbec from old vines.
Okay.
Because in that moment, all the people was talking about Uco Valley, and forgot our roots. So I decided to start with traditional places to show old vines, traditional places, and So in 2009 I started my own business, and everything was very fast.
Yeah.
And now we have 40 different wines, and we are exporting to 40 countries, and
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like your lineup really does show, how far and wide you traveled, and where you made wine. Because I think it is a really diverse expression of what Argentina can be. And I think just to your point about the old vines and in Luján de Cuyo, it's like I think that when I first got into wine and started working on this, and then started working on this portfolio, I think it was all about Uco Valley and altitude, and you make wine from some of the highest vineyards in Argentina, period, at least, or definitely in Mendoza. But I think that the conversation you've started over the last 15 years is so much more than that, which I think is pretty special.
Argentina is huge. So we have a huge diversity, So you can make wine in northern Argentina. You can make wine in Patagonia as well. You can go in the west side, which we have where we have this beautiful Andes mountain, and you can play with latitude as well, with altitude. So many different weathers and soils. And then now we are developing projects in the east side of Argentina.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So near to the ocean. So Argentina is huge. So it's not just only Malbec. It's not just only altitude. It's many things.
Reading the Tim Atkin report from 2025, it's it's regions that I think that he was excited about, that I think that most Americans have no idea make wine in Argentina. So it's pretty incredible. And that's even people in the wine industry, let alone the average American wine consumer. Shall we taste?
Yeah. So we have 5 wines to represent what we are doing. I make 40 different wines, so we
this would be a much longer tasting if we did all
4
40.
hours to try all of them. So I bring Torrontés from Mendoza. So this is our entry white wine. Torrontés is a local grape. I love this grape. We make 4 different Torrontés in the winery, and this is our entry. It's coming from Mendoza. Normally Torrontés come from northern Argentina, from Cafayate, and I love that. But when you make Torrontés in Mendoza, you get a more citric character of the grape, no? So I wanna show Torrontés in a different way. So this Torrontés fermented in concrete eggs, and then 6 months after we put it in bottle. So it's fresh, citric character, good acidity, low alcohol. It's a simple wine.
Yeah.
It's a floral character. You have all this character of the grape, lychee, roses character, but other layers you can find, citric, lemon, mandarin peel.
Yeah. I think that these aromatic varieties, whether it's Gewürztraminer or Torrontés, have a very intense reception here. People either love it or hate it, and I think that. But Torrontés is a grape that I think a lot of Americans associate with Argentina. It's like it's Torrontés, and you're trying to change that. But with the other grapes that you have planted in the wines you're making, but Torrontés and Malbec are often people's first the gateway drug to Argentinian wine. And I think to make something like this that is price point, value is great, but it's just like a little bit more of a, subtle, complex, I think, food friendly expression of Torrontés.
Yes.
This is like 90-degree plus days in Buenos Aires. This is what I want to be, drinking.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I want to make a Torrontés much, that you can combine with many kind of food, and it's not just only flora and that's it.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I choose Mendoza to try to get more acidity and freshness in the wine, because normally we get very flower character, very intense in the mouth, but in the mouth normally it's a bit heavy or sweet, So in Mendoza we can get better acidity, and that give you more, drinkability.
Yeah, this is Torrontés for Sancerre drinkers.
So the next one is a first release that in this wine. It's a Chenin Blanc from Patagonia.
Yeah.
I call it Invader, Chenin Invader, because it's a grape that right now in Argentina is getting back, And I bought this vineyard 6 years ago in Patagonia. It's a very special place in a place that we call Isla Grande, no?
Okay.
Like a big island.
That's perfect.
It's a river island.
Okay.
In northern Patagonia, where the Rio Negro River, the Black River, split into arms and form a big island. So inside of this island, we have this vineyard that was planted by Chandon in the 50s. So it was the first vineyard that Chandon planted in Argentina.
Okay.
Because when Chandon came to Argentina, they planted in Patagonia, not in Mendoza.
Yeah.
And after a while, they decided to sell all those vineyards because nobody lives in Patagonia.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to make wine there. Imagine in the 50s,
Yeah.
So so they sold those vineyards to other people. And 7 years ago, I bought the only vineyard that is still alive. So and then we work in the vineyard because I found it very abundant.
Yeah.
And now I did this pet nut to make like a remake, that because they planted to make a sparkling wine, like a inexpensive sparkling wine. And right now the vineyards are very old and low yield, and I decided to make this beautiful pet nut. So the fermentation start in concrete eggs as well, and then the fermentation ends in bottle, and we keep for 8 months with the lease, and we release to the market. It's good acid. Chenin Blanc in Patagonia has a huge acidity. So I think it's a really good wine, really good grape to make sparkling, to make pet nut, and with it, this is the first release.
Yeah, I don't think I've tried this since being at the bistro at the winery, but I think that Patagonia, people don't realize just quite how far it is from Mendoza. How far is that drive?
Drive is 14 hours.
Okay. I mean, and you have your own winemaking space there, right?
Yes.
Like 100-plus-year-old, old winery.
It's a very old wine. I rented the facility there.
Yeah.
My idea is make my own winery in 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
But right now we have this very old winery that was built in 1916.
Wow.
Near to the vineyard.
Yeah.
It's like a Burgundy winery, you
Yeah.
know, like open tops and then concrete vats, you know. It's a beautiful place. Yeah, so we make wine there. It's quite far away from Mendoza.
Yeah.
So I have a flight to Neuquén and then 4 or 5 hours drive.
Yeah.
Or if we go by car, it's 14 hours.
You're a busy man.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, regenerative is something that people talk a lot about in terms of agriculture right now, and that's something that excites me. But this is almost like regenerative in terms, regeneration, restoration in terms of like Argentina's history, which I think is something that isn't talked about.
Our heritage, I found abandoned. You know? If I don't make wine there, nobody wants to make wine because it's a very difficult place to make wine. So we send people from Mendoza to do the pruning and to keep the vineyards. So I found a family that want to live there. So we send it to the vineyard. So it's quite difficult, and I want to keep it. I want to keep this heritage. I have very beautiful grapes that in Patagonia doesn't exist. Just only in this vineyard because Chandon planted to make sparkling wine. So I have Chenin Blanc, Semison, Pinot Noir, Riesling, all those grapes that they wanted to plant it to make sparkling wine at that moment.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. So I have 2 Chenin in Patagonia. I have this Pennat, and then in the best spot that we have, we make a Chenin Blanc still wine, which is a beautiful wine.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the
and
the
Pinot Noir came from this vineyard. Okay.
And I think if people know Patagonian wine here in America, it's mostly going to be, I think that Pinot Noir is where people's heads go. Thanks to producers like Chakra that we see in the market here.
Yes, this is a beautiful place to make Pinot Noir. We are in the middle of this island, so we have a microclimate, very cold in the night, very very cold in the nights and warm days. All vines low yield, very low yield, so we get all this expression on the place inside of the wine. I don't know which clones are in the vineyard because I don't have this information, but I think it's our sparkling clones, But now we make still wines with low yield, it's the same, So
I feel like the sparkling clones, it makes like it's a brighter, fresher, more saline
higher
expression.
in quantity, in terms of volumes and tons per hectare. But right now, very old vines, I have 3,000 kilos per hectare, which is nothing, 4,000, So yes. So I make the fermentation is with some whole cluster because I want to put all the place inside of the wine, and then the age is in barrels, used barrels, for a year, for 8 months, depending of the year. Good acidity. Again, we get like a 12.5 alcohol. It's beautiful. I really like this wine.
It has fruit, but it's like kind of it's a austere Pinot Noir style that I don't. Not that you're trying to make Burgundy and Rio Negro, but it's definitively it's not Burgundy. It is such a unique expression. And I think that I'm excited about Pinot Noir in Argentina. Whether it's from Mendoza or from Rio Negro, I think that like Malbec is obviously what a lot where people's starting point is for Argentina. But I think we're tasting today. We have 2 Malbecs to finish the lineup. But you're making Garnacha, Pinot Noir, Sangiovese, these lighter wines, which I think so much of the market in America and abroad is trying to find fresher, more food friendly wines, and you're making those with Malbec too. But I just think these wines are great, and for the old ungrafted old vines, a steal for this Pinot Noir. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your first vintage of the down in Rio Negro?
2020.
Okay, 2020.
2020, yes. Yeah, Patagonia is huge, so you have to choose the correct place to make Pinot Noir, because Patagonia, you have like in the west side of Patagonia, it's very cold and extreme. In the east side, where we are, depending where you are, it's a desert, it's a Stepa Patagonia.
Yeah.
It's Patagonica. So you have to choose the correct place to make a really good Pinot Noir. If not, it's a desert, so sometimes you get very warm days, so the ripeness goes so fast. So it's not just only Patagonia to make. You can make Pinot Noir. You can make many different grapes. Like Merlot.
Yeah.
I love Merlot from Patagonia. Malbec, of course. And if you move down south, you get more acidity and yeah. So we are in the middle of this island, and southern than the traditional places, because Shandong wanted to a very cold place, you know. So I'm lucky to have this vineyard.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so move to Malbec.
Back to Uco, back to Mendoza.
Yes, so I have two different expression of Malbec right now in Argentina. Now in Argentina we make a different kind of Malbec. It's not only big wines, like a sweet in the mouth and no tannins. I'm trying to push for freshness Malbec, to other expression, to have a Malbec with huge potential, aging potential, without losing the drinkability, So we have two different Malbec to represent what we have in Mendoza, Viñas Extremas means extreme vineyards, this is the Malbec from Los Chacades. It's the higher Malbec from this appellation.
Okay.
We are at 1,500 meters, where we can make a Malbec with others with good acidity, freshness, minerality, natural acidity, high acidity, which is something uncommon from Malbec in the traditional places, So we get these calcareous soils as well in the mountain, So if you move near to the mountain, you get more rain, so the wines are lighter. And I think more interesting in terms of drinkability and texture. So we can try it. And then all the time we work with whole bunches, like a 50% or 30%, depending of the year, because we want to put all this landscape into the bottle, and that give me more complexity and layers. We work with the small concrete vats. The whole bunch we crush with our feet because we don't want to any carbonic maceration, And then we do an infusion. When fermentation ends, we press and all the wine go through foodrest, 2,000 liter foodrest, and we keep the wine for 16 months in foodrest, and then we release to the market. So it's very uncommon Malbec. It's floral.
The color on this is
it's
beautiful.
Amazing, yeah.
Well, I think it was my first time in Argentina in 2022 when we met and tasted it at the winery. It was like, I think that our visit and a couple other producers, it made like Malbec is this incredibly I think just like the great grapes of the world, like Chardonnay and Pinot Noir and Riesling. I think it's so expressive of terroir, and it's such a a grape that has personality that can express itself so differently. Such a diverse grape. You can make, it's like, to me, it's like almost Syrah-like, where you can make these, really light, crunchy expressions of Malbec, but you can also make these, big, brooding, and particularly if you're using oak, these, very intense expressions of the grape. And it's like, I think that it has so much potential and depth to the variety, and I feel like being, you have to be there to really understand it and taste, the full, potential.
Yeah, depending where you are, it's the Malbec that you can make, But all the people right now in Mendoza, in Argentina, are trying to move to this style, like lighter and no heavy wines, light in alcohol. So we pick the grapes a bit earlier, I think. No earlier, in the current moment right now, because in the past, people picked the grapes, I think, in overripe sometimes, now we know more our terroir, we know more what we want in terms of style of Malbec. And it's not just only one winery, it's all the winery, I think. The producer. The interpretation of the producer is, you like more,
but
you
I mean,
like less,
but you and the Michelinis, I think were some of the first to do that. And I think that your wines never taste, I think, too often like inexperienced, or like regions finding their footing with warmer, with picking earlier with in warmer regions often go too underripe, and the wines become green and they lose the typicity of the grape and the you're not fighting. Mendoza is a warm place. It has an amazing diurnal temperature swing. Same with our producers in South Africa. It's the great wineries aren't fighting that. It's just, but they're making these little these micro decisions that end up making a much more fresh wine over the course of a vintage. All these little choices that you have to make.
Yes. I'm trying to pick in the correct moment. I don't want to pick too early and lose typicity and personality of the grape. It's the correct moment. Try to keep freshness and personality. For that reason, all the time I'm looking for new places and places that give me this potential, to pick in the correct moment, to have low yield, but still keep the personality. So freshness and concentration in the same time.
Well, this one it's beautiful. This is 2021. I feel like every winemaker I talk to, like, incredible vintage for Mendoza. Like, there's been some, warmer vintages, 23, 24, 25. It's like, this is just absolutely perfect right now. It could age for another decade.
Place. It's a cold place in a cold vintage. So this combination is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, wine. We move to the traditional places.
Yeah.
Because Argentina and Mendoza is not just only mountain and altitude, as I told you. It's about tradition. So we make wines since, I don't know, more than 200 years, So we have those traditional places, as like Luján de Cuyo, Lulunta, So I choose the higher appellation in Luján de Cuyo. So I like altitude with all wines. So in Las Compuertas and Vistalba, you have that, So we are in Luján de Cuyo. We have 4 different vineyards here. It's a blend of 2 appellation, 2 EG, indicación geográfica we call it. Las Compuertas and Vistalba, where you can find all vines, ungrafted all vines, in altitude. So we are 1,100 meters.
Wow.
The higher all vines in Luján de Cuyo. 80, 90 years old vines.
Wow.
So this is my idea, show these beautiful vineyards. It's a different approach of Malbec. Here you can find sweeter tannins, more elegant tannins, different fruit character, no red fruit, nor this minerality that we have in Uco Valley. Here is more complexity and elegant wine, you know.
Yeah. And there's a lot of your, labels that I feel like really, deftly, they're speaking to a place and, looking to old vines, but you're also, you're doing something that feels very much, new wave. Does it come naturally? Is it like
It's our generation,
Yeah.
I think it's how I think the wine, and I think how we have to communicate it,
Yeah.
It's not something, how to say in English, like I'm trying to do, a funny label. No,
Yeah.
it's the way that I wanna communicate my wines, I love tradition and I love new places, and the way how I communicate my wines is very honest and represent my generation and how I like the things, So I don't know how can I explain in English.
No.
You know?
I think it's something that it's kind of maybe it's something that's hard to explain. If everyone knew how to explain it, there'd be every winery would be successful. And I feel like you're with your family's history in Mendoza, you're not worried. You're not so worried about honoring the past, and you do. But it's like I think that so many wineries have this feel like there's responsibility to something before them, and I just feel like you really embrace
This is very, very important thing, because this is my own business, my own winery, and I started making my dream, So I didn't have any imposition, in terms of style, in terms of packaging, in terms of anything.
You do it all. You have
So it represent how I like the wine. My name is in the label,
Yes.
So have to represent me,
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about wine.
Yeah.
Very passionate about my country and the potential that we have, It's not just only Malbec for me. It's not just only to show or to try to sell cheap Malbec or to try to, For me, it's show to the people, the potential of Argentina,
Yeah.
I am playing in this field,
Well, you're playing well. Well, Matías, cheers. Welcome back to New York City. Good to have you here this week.
Thank you, Cody.